Hi guys, this is Terry and this is evaluation question 4. How did you use new media technologies in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? So first I'm going to talk about my research because that was the first part of creating the music video. I used the internet a lot. I researched the song and the album so that I knew because I had seen the video and I've heard it and I've always thought Pink was quite rocky and quite indie, and I was actually quite shocked to find out that Family Portrait falls under the R&B category. So it's good that I did that research so that I didn't use the wrong codes and conventions. I used for my similar texts, I researched other artists in similar genres or for the same kind of look that I liked and that I wanted for my video and for my artist. So I used Adele and I used Kelly Clarkson. So I used YouTube.com and I looked at their videos and I looked at the comments people had made and what they thought about these videos. I focused mostly on Kelly Clarkson's Because of You because it followed a similar storyline to Family Portrait by Pink. So I looked at that more closely. So I got a lot of my ideas from watching the actual video. So the idea of having it in a home, the idea of the arguing, but rather than having, because she has at the beginning and the end, she kind of goes back and watches herself as a kid while her parents are arguing. Instead, I just decided for the artist for it to just follow one narrative. We didn't necessarily do a recce, but we did use the song Pretty Good at Drinking Beer, and I can't remember who sings it. I think it's Billy Carrington, yes. So we used that as a draft to kind of get our interpretation of songs, because a music video director has to know that the song is just as important as the video and the imagery that goes towards it. Like for example, in Michael Jackson's Thriller, if the song wasn't called Thriller and it wasn't about a thriller and getting a thrill, he wouldn't have put werewolves in it, because then it wouldn't follow the song, it wouldn't link, they wouldn't coincide and it wouldn't work. So for planning, I did a storyboard which I did on post-its, and I placed them on, I took pictures and put them all into Windows Movie Maker and changed the timing so that it was all in time to how I roughly wanted it to look. And this helped me because I got my overall kind of look of what I wanted to happen, and it's quick and easy. If I make a mistake, it's quick to change, easy to edit, and you've always got a backup file. Also for my planning, for my poster on my digipack, I did a drawing. So I got a piece of paper and folded it into 4 sections, and I drew on my rough ideas. Sorry for the really bad drawings, by the way. So I used that to help with my planning of it, so that I had a base guideline. Also, and for my construction, I'm going to talk about now. So the construction of my music video, I used Final Cut Express, which I have a background with because I used it last year for my AS Media, for my video. So I knew how to do all the transitions already. I knew all the basics that I needed to know. For those of you that don't, you can look along the side and click on Introduction to Final Cut Express. There's a very helpful tutorial video on there, and I watched that video. I watched the more progressed versions so I could help myself in particular, because last year there was a strict narrative. It was a film, it had to follow a story, but this year was a music video and we could have any narrative that we wanted. So I decided that I would try. So what I did with Final Cut is, for the story parts of it, I created it as if it was a film, so that if I wanted, I could just throw in a bit of performance just to space it out. So I edited it as if it were a film, and then I placed the performance bits in so that I wouldn't lose the narrative. This year we also learned about cutting to the beat. So instead of just cutting whenever felt right, like we did last year, this year we cut to the beat of the music. For the construction of my posters and my digipacks, I used the Canon cameras to take the pictures with, and I used my own memory card so that I could come home and quickly change it and put it on my USB so that I had it straight away for the next day, and it saved our technician Andrew a job. So we used them. We shot the pictures up in front of the green screen for my digipack and posters, because I already had the idea that I wanted it to be black and white and for it to be simplistic. So I wanted the background to be plain, but I didn't want it to be white, so we decided we'd use the green, and then using Photoshop for Mac, I then edited it and made it black and white. So yes, moving on to Photoshop, I used that to help create my digipack and my posters. I used it to change the colouring, the contrast and the brightness, which I think worked effectively, because one of my pictures I think it was my hair looked, and it made it look a bit blurry, so I brought up the contrast and then it was defined, which was effective for the poster. And I also used Aperture. So once I had done my brightness and my contrast and my colour levels, I imported to Aperture so that I could crop it into a square shape, because the digipacks and the pictures all had to be square, and that was the easiest way of doing it. Before I put the text on, because otherwise if I went to crop it I might lose some of the text, particularly as I wanted one of my pages to be a thank you page. Also, I found the font online on dafont.com, dafont.com. It's a great website if you want text. You get loads of different types there. There are some that are easily recognisable, and there are some that aren't and that look quite good. So I stayed away from those that were easily recognisable, so that I wouldn't be seen as like breaching copyright and stealing font. And so if people were to look at my digipack and think, hold on, isn't that from there, it wouldn't work well, because she's an individual artist and she's new, she's not established, people shouldn't recognise it, she's completely fresh. So I also want to mention the Trip to Rich mix we had, which really helps me through my planning and my research. Pete Fraser was a great help, because he taught us everything that we needed to do for our music videos to make them successful, and to make sure that we were organised and that we had the skills that we needed. And Corinne Hardy doing the little director's pitch activity really helped it, in the same way the recce did, playing the song and then having you pitch your ideas, because that's what it would be like in the real world if you were a music video director. That's what you would have to do. You'd write your ideas down, you might come up with a presentation and a few pictures, you have to do a treatment, and then you'd have to pitch it. So you've got to have confidence in your own idea, and I think going to that trip taught me to have confidence in my interpretation of the song. So when I pitched to Corinne Hardy, I was quite shy and I was quite timid. But then when I pitched my video idea to my teacher, I was more confident, I was more solid, because I knew what I wanted. And for my evaluation, I'm using the webcam on my laptop at home, because there's lots of Macs and it takes forever to upload to YouTube and just to save it to the network when there are so many people on. So I thought if I did it at home it would be a lot quicker. Yeah, and also to get my audience feedback, which was part of my evaluation, because it's not just me evaluating, and it's not just the grade that I get evaluating, it's all about the audience, because it's about how effective it would be if it was a real media text. So the audience feedback, I filmed on my mobile phone, which is why the sound quality and picture quality isn't of the greatest. I put it on Facebook, and I got a lot of generic audience feedback, and so I used lots of different media technologies to construct, plan, research and evaluate my product. Thanks guys.